I have my instruments here. Check out a lot of different spaces. One of my favorite spots in the house. I perform, I offer workshops. Hello, my name is Annie. This is The Green Dream. Welcome to my tiny home tours. All right, and so we're in the living area, and this is a little cabinet storage space that I can keep my keyboard on. And this space has a ton of my music books. I made sure to measure this cabinet. I wanted something where I could use the keyboard comfortably, which I mostly use for songwriting. And over here we have the ladder that leads up to the sleeping loft, and it's also movable, so we can move it over and get up to the storage loft. Behind this ladder, I have my closet, which is a curtain rod and a sheet that we kind of sewed. And I have clothes back here. I have just a little kind of free plastic drawers that I got for other clothes. And what I do is, depending on the season, if it's summertime or warmer weather, I keep my winter clothes in the storage loft, and I just have the clothes out that I'm gonna wear during that season. And then on the side of the ladder, I keep things like chairs. I have a little table that I can pull out and put in the living area. I have a mic stand back there and a vacuum cleaner. So kind of, you gotta find little nooks and crannies for everything. So this is the music area / chill out couch zone. And I worked with builders from tiny mountain houses, and we designed from one of their existing models. And in that model, this area was actually a porch. And in looking at all of the gear that I had, we decided to actually build this out as part of the internal part of the home. So I have my instruments here. I have a couch that I built during quarantine, and it's actually 3 different tables with different shelves. And I measured the shelves to fit my speakers. I have a loop pedal under here, and all the various music gear. So I specifically measured how big those items were and designed the shelves to fit them. And then I put a little mattress on the top so that I can hang out and take a nap, or I can work, whatever the case may be. All right, so right above me is my storage space. And I'm really grateful that I have this storage space and it's not just a patio. I actually took the extra things that I wanted to put up there and measured out how much space that we would need in the storage space. So that's above me. And I also used to keep a lot of my music gear up there, and I would have to take my ladder over and move things around. And so that was part of the reason I built the couch, was to have quicker access to music toys. Right over here, I have my 2 heating sources. One is electric, and that's the one I use most often. The other is a propane, marine propane heater. It's really beautiful. It gives off this really beautiful blue flame. So I use it occasionally, but it does use a lot of propane, so I tend to not use that as often. And the house is cedar, built with cedar, which is a lighter wood, and it's also more resistant to mold and decomposition. So I wanted to live in a tiny home to live lighter on the land, and I definitely want to keep making modifications towards that goal. Mainly get solar panels and have some gray water recycling at some point. I also, as a musician, really wanted a private area where I could write and create and make weird sounds and not worry about disturbing anyone. And I also wanted a more affordable living option. I would say the main sacrifice that I've made living in a tiny home is it is challenging to have bigger gatherings, obviously. Occasionally, I've gotten up to 6 people in the house for a rehearsal, but having any big sort of dinner party or anything like that is not really possible in this space. So If I had to change anything about this house, I think that I would have skylights to let in more natural light. Though I know that that is sort of a trade-off between getting more light and cooling down the house, and this house definitely stays really cozy, but in the Pacific Northwest, light is definitely at a premium. So there are times that I would like skylights to let in more natural light. All right, and this is my kitchen and workspace. So this is my work area. I got this nice comfy chair during the pandemic when I was working at home a bit more. I have my computer here and a little separate keyboard that I keep under here on a table. I've got a little area for pens, paper, and then we have the kitchen area, and I have a good amount of cabinet space where I can keep my food. And I also have space above the cabinets where I have a pan up there. I have some extra napkins and towels and things like that. I have a small refrigerator and freezer, and this is electric. I have to be pretty mindful of how much food I get, but for the most part, the size is perfect for me. I have a stove, 2-burner stove that runs off of propane. And I have a little magnet strip to keep knives organized and kind of save a little bit of space. Over here, I have a full-size sink, which is really helpful. And when I do dishes, I pull this down. I have a little drying rack right here. I can take that, do the dishes, dry them here. I really like I feel like I have a lot of counter space for a small home right here. So I'm connected to the main house for water and electricity. I do have the capability to be more off-grid in this house, and I would like that opportunity someday. I would like to have solar. I don't have it yet. So right now, everything really runs off of the electricity from the main house and propane, and I get the running water from the main house as well. There are a lot of outlets in this house, which is very convenient for a musician who plugs things in, and kind of everywhere I look, there's an outlet available. And then right behind the kitchen, which might be a little strange for people, is my bathroom. The door is thick enough that I don't really get any smells or anything like that, but the bathroom is right here. All right, welcome to my wonderful bathroom. And as I mentioned, I have a composting toilet. This is the separate. And I built some extra shelves here for more storage. I have another heater here because the main heater doesn't really heat up this space. So I have a separate little space heater there. I have some wonderful bathroom reading. I have space for extra toilet paper, little shelving, makeup, towels. This is where I put my laundry. And then I have a towel rack, and I have extra hooks on the door for space for towels and a robe. And I've got a shower over here and a little shower storage space for extra room in there as well. Right, if you're thinking about moving into a small space, my advice would be to check out a lot of different spaces. I looked at many different tiny homes, some that were just kind of shells, some that were built out, to really get an idea about what was important to me. And I think it is important to think about what your priorities are. For me as an artist, I wanted to have my sonic freedom. I wanted to have space for my gear. And so when I was figuring out what to keep when moving in the tiny house, I may have given away some shoes, but I made sure to have space for my music gear and everything that I need to create. Welcome to my tiny house loft. This is a little nest area. I think it's one of my favorite spots in the house. And the builders that I worked with actually build their own trailers, and so they are able to get a bit more height in the loft. And when I was looking at different tiny homes, loft space was something that I found varied quite a bit. There were some homes that I could really barely sit up in, and I'm only 5'5". So I wanted to have enough space that it didn't feel claustrophobic, and if I had some lucky folks over, they wouldn't bump their heads or anything like that. So this loft area has ample space. I can sit up, I can make the bed, and I really love that. I have a mattress that's about 4 inches thick, and it's very comfortable and preserves that, I still have some clearance and I can sit up in bed. We have some big windows on either side of the loft, and I made these curtains that, the windows are kind of an odd size, so I made these curtains to fit the particular dimensions of the window, and this back window as well. And then I have some bookshelves. These are I got these during the pandemic as well, kind of got a little more organized. So I tend to not keep too many books. I try to read things and then pass them along, but the books that I do keep, I keep in these little bookshelves here. Got these lovely lights to this is kind of the chill out space. I like to have lower light in the evening to kind of mellow out a little bit. And above me is sort of an attempt at another closet idea. And this is a little pulley that runs to the storage loft where I actually have clothes hanging as well. I did find that when I hang the clothes, it's a bit heavy, so it is a bit heavy to pull over, but that was one idea that we had for closet and clothes storage space. I also have a carbon monoxide monitor because I do run the stove on propane, and a fire alarm. And there's another monitor downstairs as well. And I also, when I cook, I tend to open the window and use the fan for extra kind of airflow and to not have that build up in the house. All right, so I am a musician. I perform, I offer workshops. You can find me at Annie C Music on Instagram, Facebook. AnnieCmusic.com is my website. I also work as a tutor, and I've been tutoring remotely, so I just work from my little workspace there. And I'm also launching a YouTube channel for this tiny home. It's going to be Green Dream Tiny Home on YouTube, and hopefully some socials to follow. So that's what I do to make tiny house life work. All right, thanks for joining me on this tour of the Green Dream. Again, my name is Annie, and you can find my music at Annie C Music, C like the ocean, at Annie C Music, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, AnnieCmusic.com online. And I'm going to be launching a YouTube channel for this house, the Green Dream Tiny Home, so stay tuned for that. My latest song is called Tiny House Loft, which is all about the challenges of romance in a small space. So please check it out. I think you will find it very funny. Thanks so much for joining me.